Hi there, I'm Dr. Koenig, and today we are talking about rational number multiplication and division. Specifically, we're focused on fractions, multiplying and dividing with both positive and negative fractions. Let's jump right into this. Now, fraction multiplication is lovely. It's very straightforward. Typically, with fraction multiplication, you're really just going to multiply straight across and then see if you can simplify. So for this problem, I would do 5 times 2 or negative 5 times 2, which is negative 10. And then I would multiply 8 times 3, which is 24. And then I would reduce this fraction or simplify this fraction. I see that those numbers are both divisible by 2, which means I can rewrite this as negative 5 over 12. Now, there is another way you can reduce a problem like this, and that's by looking at the cross products. So I want to show you this example one more time. Now, cross products are the pieces of the product problem, the multiplication problem, that are across from each other. If they can both simplify by something, we are allowed to simplify diagonally. For example, 8 and 2 can both be divided by 2. The 2 becomes a 1, the 8 becomes a 4. And what that does is, what I would say is pre-simplify the problem. So I have pre-simplified. Now, when I multiply straight across, I have 5 times 1 or negative 5 times 1 and 4 times 3. So I get right to negative 5 over 12. And most of the time, if I have pre-simplified, or actually it's called cross-canceling, if I have cross-canceled enough, then there's no further need for simplifying at the end of the problem. Now here's another very similar example. This one is only different because it's got mixed numbers. So when you're multiplying, it's really important to first turn any mixed numbers into improper fractions. I'll do that here by multiplying the 2 by the 7 and adding the 1, which gives me 15. In this case, I will bring down my negative and make it negative 15 over 7. You'll notice that when I was converting that to an improper fraction, I ignored the negative until the end. That's because if I used my integer rules here, I might get a different value. So we really just take the 2 times the 7 plus the 1 and then bring the negative down into our answer. We'll do the exact same process over here, except for no negative to contend with. I'll multiply 1 times 6 and then add the 1, which gives me 7 over 6. Now let's readdress that cross-canceling and look at our cross products. I see that I have 7 and 7, which can both divide by, of course, 7 to become 1s. I also see that I have 6 and 15, which can both divide by 3. So here I'll get 2, and here I'll get negative 5. From there, when I multiply straight across, I get negative 5 times 1, or negative 5 for the numerator, and 1 times 2, which is 2 for my denominator. Okay, so what about division? Now, division is actually very much related to multiplication, and I'll show you why. But first, let's make this mixed number into an improper fraction. 8 times 3 is 24. Add the 1, and you get 25. And then remember, bring down that negative. The denominator stays the same when you're making it improper. Now I have negative 25 thirds divided by 5 over 7. However, think back to earlier in middle school, earlier maybe in elementary school for some of you, when you were dividing by fractions. The way to divide by a fraction is actually to turn it into a multiplication problem. And we do that by multiplying by the reciprocal. So here I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of 5 over 7 is 7 over 5. All I've done is flipped that second fraction around. Now, it's important to note that you can only do that with a second. So the first number stays the same. You change the division sign to a multiplication sign, and then you flip or reciprocate that second number. Some people remember that as this: keep, change, flip. And what I mean by that is they keep the first number the same, they change the division to multiplication, and then they flip the second number. If that helps you, use that. If it doesn't, it's not a big deal. Multiplying by the reciprocal is the actual official mathematical terminology that we would actually use there. From here, I'll look at if I can cross-cancel anything, and I see that the 5 and the 25 are across from each other, and those are both divisible by 5, which would leave me with 1 and negative 5. The 7 and the 3 don't have anything in common, so I'm just going to go ahead and multiply across now. Negative 5 times 7 is negative 35 for my denominator. 3 times 1 is 3. So 3 quick examples. Hopefully that gave you a start on multiplying and dividing fractions. They're really similar. Because we changed division into multiplication anyway, they are really, really similar operations. But some notes, some takeaways that you should come out with is that we always make everything improper first. And then in multiplication, we cross-cancel when possible. In division, we change it to a multiplication problem and we multiply by the reciprocal of that second number. Only after you turn it to multiplication can you cross-cancel. So when you see this cross-canceling listed under multiplication, you can do it here too, but only after you've reciprocated that second number and you've made it into a multiplication problem. Anyway, thanks for being here. Here's a quick tutorial on fractions. I know you got it. I'll see you next time.